Hey guys, it's me, Connie. Since my first video didn't go through showing all the basics of Scal, I figured I'd go through and try to do it again. So, start with the very top here. This is where if you want to start a new project, clean slate, this is where you would click right on the very top. So if you already have a saved project, which is like your S-Cuts, because that's what Scal saves it to, you would click on here and you could open up your next S-Cut. Here's where you could save your project. This is, say you have an SVG already downloaded to your computer. You can click here and go to and pull up your SVG, and so like here's Owl I just got done making. You would click on it, you would hit open. That brings it in. This next screen here, the little landscape looking thing, is your trace image. This is where you can say you have a clip art or just a plain one color item that you want to bring in to make cut files. Some that are really light like this, you might have to do a little bit of adjusting. So like this one is very, very light, so you may need to adjust the brightness up a little more till you get your outlines that you want to cut. I don't want to have these little lines here, so I'm going to see if I can't bring it up just a little bit more. Well, I can remove those out. It's not a big deal. So then you can bring those in, and then you can cut those out. The next, here is your shapes library. So you can bring up your different shapes. You can view your favorites, this project. They have quite a few different options that you can pull in, different tags and stuff. This here is where you would go to cut. This one gives you your outlines where it cuts. This one gives you basically what it's going to look like at your end view. Now, then you go up here, underneath your edit, under preferences, it's going to pull up this window here. You go to your cutter. This is where you change your speed that your cutter cuts. It is not set on your machine. It's set inside Scal itself. So this is where you would go to make your speed. I cut a lot of things on medium, but if you have really small pieces or really intricate designs, I would suggest either going low or even minimum. That way it gives you a little bit smoother cut, and it may not tear as bad, especially on small words. Let's see here. The object is where you would group and ungroup your items, which I will explain that completely different video. The view here gives you can actually zoom in, zoom out, fit to window where everything fits on the one screen. You can actual size, so it shows you exactly what size it's going to end up being. When you go to cutter, the top button right here, your mat size, tells you what size your mat that you're cutting with. So 12 by 12 or 12 by 24, that's where you set this at. Down here is if you want to cut it, your design 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, this is where you would set that. This is where you would pull up your layers window to give you your different layers on your different groups, which I will go into more depth later on. Right over here, say if I have this highlighted here, if I want to scoot it over just a little bit, I can use the nudge buttons. Or if I want to center it in the middle of my design, and then center right the middle of my mat, I could hit those. Now, if you are resizing things, I suggest keeping your key proportions pressed. That way, when you are dragging it and making it smaller, it's going to keep it all proportioned. Because if you do not have that checked, you can make it where it's really skinny, really fat. It's not going to be what you're looking for it to do. Over here it also has your rotate. You want to turn it sideways, back and forth. Now, over here under appearance, this is where you would flip it. So on your HTV heat transfer vinyls, this is where you would flip your words or your images backwards to print on the correct way. This over here is especially if you have images that overlap, where they cut it as one solid image. You always want to make sure that you have your image welded, because if they overlap and they are not welded, it's going to cut each one individually and it's going to cut into the next letter, and that's not what you're going to want it to do. So that's about it for this one. I will get back with you on the next one.